Hey everybody, thanks for being here. This week we're on Shasta Lake in Northern California for some really great kokanee fishing. Brought to you by Corning Ford, Procure, Clackercraft, Yakima Bait, P-Line, Max Lure, Fishfield, Brad's Fishing, Valley Marine, Ole's Fishing Charters, and Fishang Products. Now, if you want to learn how to catch more fish, stay tuned. I'm Justin Wolf and this is Angler West Television. Kokanee were first introduced into Shasta Lake in 1951, and there was some good fishing through the 70s, but fluctuating water levels caused a die-off until kokanee were reintroduced in 2019. Now, the bite is on once again.
They've been planting kokanee in here for a good little bit, probably about 5 years now, and it was a kind of a reintroduction. They used to have kokanee here in the late 70s, and I guess it was a great fishery. I wasn't here back then. But then we had the mega drought, right? So a lot of the fish in the lake, especially the kokanee, didn't have the opportunity to have access to a lot of the tributaries and a lot of their spawning grounds. So they, over a 2-year time frame, simply perished. And so like I said, about 5 years ago, California Fish and Wildlife employee, who was also an avid fisherman, thought, hey, you know what? Let's try to reintegrate kokanee into Shasta Lake. They got the program accepted, and they've been putting in about, 100 to 200,000 kokanee every year. It would appear that they're actually doing pretty good.
And here, I thought all these years they only planted hot girls on, houseboats in Shasta. They plant kokanee too.
We launched here at Bridge Bay this morning, which is kind of by the I-5 bridge, and we're not going to make a very long run. We're going to go fish an area called Waters Gulch. I know that area has been super popular over the years. In fact, I know some Angler West shows have been filmed there, but for trout. So today we're going to target kokanee salmon, and we're going to catch some kokanee salmon. And this is the entrance to the Sacramento River arm. And everybody knows where Waters Gulch is. Big, nice, big open area, as you can see. And year after year, I call this our summer fishing hole. It'll hold up pretty well into the fall, but this time of year, this is a great place to catch rainbows, browns, sometimes king salmon, and especially on good kokanee years, some really nice kokanee salmon.
So I'm pretty excited about this. I've caught a lot of salmon and steelhead over the years, and get to come out here with Jeff here and do some Shasta kokanee fishing, which is pretty cool. Maybe catch a trout too, it sounds like, so pretty jacked about this.
We're gonna go pretty simple here. Just got beads, hooks, and a Smile Blade, and we got another Max Dodger on here. The UV has been really good. Anything with UV in it's been really good for us. Some corn here, and all I'm using is just canned corn, white corn, shoe peg corn, and one of my favorite additions is the salmon blend, addicted from Procure, and I just get a little jar, put some corn in it, put this stuff in there, fill it up, and every year, but especially this year, it's been really good scent. I haven't really had to do much else, but we'll try some different scents on here today if we need to get a little bit of bite action going. But I think we'll be doing great with this. We're gonna start trolling a little bit faster than this. Try to get around just over 1, 2. My setbacks on these back rods are gonna be pretty short. I'm only gonna go about 10, 15 feet back at the most. We've been having a lot of bites, but a lot of short strikes, and as a result, we're having a lot of releases, and we're only down about 40 feet back here, so it's not like we have a lot of extra line out there, and when these things release, that we have tons of slack in them, but we're going to shorten up our setbacks, and that'll minimize the amount of slack that we have in our lines when these things get released by fish.
So do you want the fish to release it, or do you want to pull and release it?
You know what? I have these downrigger line releases, and they're set up really cool.
A little different than what I've seen in the past.
Yep.
I've always seen the little clips or snappets or whatever they call it.
Yep. They're not pinch pads. They're called Chamberlain releases. They originated back in the Midwest in the Great Lakes area. And what they have on them, really simply, is a dual adjustment, right? So here's your wire attachment. This is an adjustment for the rabbit ears here, and that adjusts the tension for the line release when pulling up, okay? So, you know, when you have these pinch pads and you're trying to figure out, well, do I put them in really deep into the pinch pad, or do I, you know, put them more towards the outside of the pinch pad? That's how you make your adjustments depending on how deep you are and how much of a tension that you want on that. Well, with these, you can just adjust it in that fashion. Then this adjustment here goes from basically 0 to 4 pounds of pressure. There's a magnet in there. As you screw it in, it gets closer and closer to this metal rod gets closer to the magnet. And what happens is it's harder to pull off, right? So when you're kokanee fishing and we want an easy release, we back it off so that when the fish pull the line, it comes off really easy. So no, we're not releasing these unless, you know, manually, unless for some reason the rod's bouncing.
Welcome back to Shasta Lake. I'm Justin Wolf. We've started at the mouth of the Sacramento River arm targeting kokanee with Jeff Goodwin.
This next rig we're gonna send out, got a 4-inch sling blade, and you know, one of my favorite presentations for kokanee has always been, you know, the Spin-N-Glos. So Spin-N-Glos on a double hook rig, you can't go wrong. And you can run a Spin-N-Glos with just beads. You can run a Spin-N-Glos with micro hoochies. Pretty much always have something on here. Every once in a while, I'll put on a maggot, or I've even put on chunks of anchovy, chunks of shad, anything like that. It doesn't really seem to matter, as long as you have something on there.
All right, here we go. I'm going to see how to do the bend here. I've been trying to figure this out myself a little bit.
Yep. So, new in the package, you can see it's you know, flat as a board, and you'll notice that I have some bend in this one. And the reason I have it bent is because we troll, you know, less than 1.5 miles an hour, and you can get action out of these trolling really slow, but to match the action and to impart the movement on your presentations here, the best thing to do, in my experience, is to put a little bend in the Dodger. And what that does is, when you're trolling slow, it's going to rock this Dodger back and forth. And what it's going to do is it's going to put a little bit of action on your presentation. So a lot of folks will pull this right out of the package, throw it in the water, and start trolling. And sometimes get lucky, but you got to match your trolling.
Guilty. I've done that before a little bit.
Exactly.
You know, and then I kind of started thinking about it a little bit. And the sizes, I went to get some of these myself at one of the stores. Is there a particular reason you use 4-inch or 6-inch or those even bigger ones?
Yep. You can use the full range of size, but it's like so many other things. You know, a lot of times the fish are going to be in a mood, right? Sometimes they're in a mood to eat, you know, really big, flashy things, and other times they're not going to be in the mood for something really big.
Sure.
They'll push off of it, and so the smaller things tend to be what they'll gravitate towards. So the other thing is, you know, we just talked about the bend here. A larger surface is going to have more movement in it, right? So sometimes when you're running 4-inch Dodgers, you want to run 4-inch Dodgers. If you find that you incorporate a 6-inch Dodger into the mix and the 6-inch is getting bit, then you're going to want to make it so it runs with these other 4-inchers. So a lot of folks will put a 4-inch Dodger out there and then put a 6-inch Dodger and be like, well, Jeff said to put a nice bend in it, and they'll put a big bend in a 6-inch Dodger and send it out without checking, and that thing's down there doing this.
You could turn your bait off too, probably.
It's just, well, so much more surface area, and at the same trolling speed, a smaller lure that's perfectly, you know, presenting side to side. You put a bigger lure on at the same speed, and it's going to be doing loops like 360s do, and these are not 360s. They don't fish like 360s.
Yeah.
So
a little less bend on those big ones, maybe, or something too. Yeah.
Yep. So my recommendation is no matter what you do, no matter what the bend is, no matter what the size of the presentation is, if you want to mix, different dodgers into the trolling pattern, that's awesome. Just make sure you put it in the water and you watch it.
The biggest thing we're looking for is our trolling speed. You don't want to go too fast with the dodgers. You want them to be going from side to side. So you're checking each one. So basically at about 1.5, you're going to see those dodgers roll completely over. That's not something that you want. So we're wanting that nice side motion on those. That's why we have the bend in them and getting a better presentation to the fish.
There's one. There we go. Nice.
My bad.
Nice little battle going on here. There it is. Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, probably gonna be a ditch pickle. Yeah, we scraped bottom, so
Yeah.
we scrape bottom sometimes. Gonna make things smaller here if we can. See if it makes a difference. You just keep trying until you find something that goes, and then you can make those adjustments. But pink, a little bit of blue, a little bit of action with these Smile blades for a little bit of vibration, and we will see.
We started at the mouth of the Sacramento River arm, but the bite just did not happen. So we're running farther up lake, hoping to find some biters.
Yeah, we're up here. We're going to fish these walls up here on lower gooseneck, and there's been a lot of kokanee hanging out here in the past month or so. So we'll see what we got today, and they were here yesterday. First minute we got in here, we got some kokanee in that zone. We're at that 40-foot zone. We'll find more once we get up against these walls. If they're here today, we'll see them pretty good. These are the Brad's hooks, and these are actually, I believe they're number 2s. They look a little closer to a 4, but they're a number 2. And nice hooks, super sticky sharp. Got the red colors, and look at the barbs on those. Those barbs are really, really deep.
We like running this lower end of gooseneck. It's been producing the last, like we said, the last month and a half for us, all along this edge and up around the next corner. They were here yesterday, so we're going to see if they're here today. And we already have a few marks on there, so it's just going to take a matter of a little bit of time here, and I think they'll be going off here shortly.
Oh, there you go, fish over there on the left. There you go. Now, okay, now slow down. Now slow down. And bring it over the top.
Out back.
Yep. There you go. All right.
There's one. I have to get my feel here with this right here. There it is. Kokanee to the boat. Nice job.
It's a little on the small side so far.
Stay.
There you go. But it's a place to start, and look how fat they are. They're just butter balls.
Said that.
Just a double hook rig. Yeah, Yakima Spin-N-Glos. Notice it's only got one wing on there. And that's kind of the same thing with a lot of these baits. If you take some of the wobble out or lopside some of the baits, sometimes you get a little bit different action, and sometimes that makes a difference, whether it's the Smile Blades or the Spin-N-Glos.
Let me know when I can pass back.
Go over the top.
Right, another one on. Here we go. Where you at?
Oh, he gone. Just shy of 50 feet. I switched to mono today. I changed out the reels last night. I've been running braid, and a lot of times I run braid on the downrigger rods just because of the diameter and the fact that there isn't a lot of line stretch for going down deep. But I've been losing a lot of kokanee here lately, so I thought we'd soften things up a little bit, put some mono on there, get a little more stretch out of our line, and see if that makes a difference. So far we're 50-50. Lost one, got one. Yeah, so we're back into you know, a program where CDFW is planting. Oh, this one's.
You're telling lies up there.
We're in, I don't know, like year 5 of our restoration programs on Shasta Lake with kokanee salmon. We had them here in the 70s. They've been putting them in here the last few years. And we're starting to see a really nice group of fish, especially this year. And you know, we're fishing up the Sacramento River arm, and one of the reasons that we are is because for a good number of years they've been putting these fish in the Sacramento River up above us.
Look at that. Look at that
Beautiful.
beauty.
Yep.
Nice.
Super clean. Yep. Super clean fish, and these today these
Sorry,
Max lure setups with the hoochies, Smile Blades.
Chrome.
All doing really good. We just had a double. What? We have another fish on over here.
Sorry. I'm gonna lose a rod with those slimy hands here.
I know it, huh?
As you're catching fish, hands start getting slimy like this.
And I used to go just a little bit slower than that.
All right.
But all these kokanee are,
That one off?
they're fertile fish. So the plan is to get some naturally reproducing fish in the system so we can have, for many years to come, a great kokanee fishery here on Shasta Lake.
We're going back to Shasta Lake for some more kokanee fishing, but first, here's your fish field tackle connection. Now, everybody knows how great corn works for kokanee, unless it starts to spoil and gets slimy and maybe the pH changes, and then it's not good at all. Now, to prevent that, a little bit of ProCure Wizard Kokanee Killer Corn Magic is simple and easy and extremely effective. Go to fishfield.com and look at the 3 colors available, pink, orange, and natural, and all the other ProCure additives that will help you get more bites. Now, let's go back to Shasta Lake and see if we can't catch some more of those great kokanee. Kokanee can be finicky, and at times finding just the right action and size of lure is crucial.
Yeah, I have some bigger ones in there, but I tend to like, just been going small. Our water's pretty clear in here, so you don't really need a lot down there to, you know, get these fish to see your gear or create some interest. So I run pretty small, micro hoochies, just small presentations.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason you're out there.
That's a nice mark there, a good fish.
Yeah,
Came up to look at the gear, and maybe you're moving a little slow, or maybe it's not what he's looking for. Captain Brady almost got Moby Dick in here yesterday. Giant brown, chased one of the trout that he had on, bit half its tail off, retrieving it. And the client said that probably the biggest fish he's ever seen behind the boat. Of course, weren't going to catch him, but it was pretty impressive, and it's testimony to the fact that, hey, we got some big brown trout in this lake.
All right, I'm gonna let it fly a little bit. Not to crank on. That's kind of the key I'm learning here is to, you know, there he is. Look at that flash. That's a nice one there too. There it is. There it is, coming right to you.
Ooh, nice one too.
Nice. See, I just took a little deeper breath that time. That's the key to it.
That's a good size one there.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful fish. Look at that thing.
One thing I want to point out right now is that it's the end of June, okay? We're gonna have these kokanee available all the way through summertime, and they're just gonna keep growing. They've already grown a lot since we started catching them a month ago. So it's not out of question for us to see 18 to 20 inch kokanee here by, you know, the end of August.
I don't know if I want to taste it or not.
Some nitrates or sulfites
tastes
or
pretty
something
good.
in there.
I think they're gonna like it.
Yeah.
Corn Wizard. Tuning that up a little bit.
Yep. Doesn't take much. You don't want to overdo it. It's better to underdo it than overdo it. A lot of folks know this. Some don't. But these salmon, they can smell in parts per million or billion, right? So anything that we can't even begin to smell, they can smell very strongly. So that's why all these ProCure scents are especially formulated to get these fish to go.
Go for it.
Here, I'll grab it.
Okay, we're hooked up again, right here in our little corner. These kokanee have really been holding the structure this year, and they've liked these corners out here, these steep walls. I think he's coming with the boat, or he came off. He came off. He jerked. Yep.
That's what happens when I grab the net. So is there kokanee all over this lake, or are they just specific areas? Or?
You know, this is still a new fishery for us. We're still trying to pin these things down and get a nice long, history of where these fish go when they go there. And as time, goes on, it's going to tell us a little bit more every year. There are, to answer your question, kokanee plants in numerous locations throughout the lake, and have been for the life of the plants over the last 5 or 6 years. And because of that, I've caught kokanee in just about every arm of this lake, from one end to the next, whether it be the pit arm, the cloud arm, sack arm, down by the dam. We're finding them everywhere.
My fish looking chrome?
Hey, I hope you found today's episode valuable. That helps you catch more fish. And be sure to watch this episode again, plus hundreds of other episodes on the Angler West TV YouTube channel. Plus, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, without our sponsors, there is no show, so please thank them when you can. Now, get out there and do some great fishing.